You are listening to the Wildlife Photography Podcast with Rob Reed and Josh Galicki, bringing together the love of nature and photography. Episode 23. We talk about our top 10 bird photography cliches. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the Wildlife Photography Podcast with me, Rob Reed, and my co-host Josh Galicki. Hey Josh, long time no speak. How's it been?
It's been good, Rob. It's been good. I'm looking forward to this discussion. I think it'll be, kind of humorous in a way, but also pretty pretty spot on to a lot of the stuff we see. But it's been busy. I mean, last we spoke, or between the last podcast and now, I went to France for a quick trip to the they have a nature and bird festival once a year. I had an image that won one of the categories, so I was able to go over there and meet some photographers who I've never met before, and experience all things French as it relates to nature. And it was a lot of fun.
That's always fun to do something like that. Yeah, a bit of a long way for you, though.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you, it was worth it. And one of the best ways I've ever seen, and I think I mentioned this to you offline, one of the best ways to see photographs display. They actually had them on. It looked like basically projector screens with the images printed on. I'm not exactly sure what the paper was, and they had it set up outside in this park atmosphere. So the winning images there were different galleries and displays, but all throughout the town where the festival was, it was on St. Valery-sur-Somme was the area. Beautiful estuary in northwestern France, like south of Calais. And to see everything outside in some of these parks, to walk through and appreciate the images, really cool. And I think a pretty unique way to display the images. So, but we just did a crack up job. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah, we very nearly, well, so I think we were talking about before, we very, very nearly did that 1 year at Bird Photographer of the Year. At Kew Gardens, it would have been amazing, but I think I can't remember exactly what happened now. I think it was sponsorship or something like that. Wasn't, fell through for it. But I would have, I'd love to have seen that. That would have been amazing because, of course, I'm off to France as well next week. So we're sort of just Jennifer and I, and obviously Sky, going over on the channel and just driving down through France and hopefully end up at the Camargue, in the Camargue at some point. And seeing amazing flamingos and all the lovely stuff down there. So really looking forward to that. It'll be a good few days away because it seems like I haven't picked up a camera in weeks. So it'll be nice to actually have some time and just to sort of really get back into it again. It's been a while.
And when you're driving too, tune into some of the French easy listening radio stations. They're actually pretty good, I have to say. I didn't understand a word of it, but there's some decent music over there that you just would not hear.
Yeah, well, might well do. I mean, Jennifer's always tuning into those because she's a pretty good French speaker actually. So it's one of her sort of hobbies is learning French. So she's always, we've always got French radio on around the house. It sems to be. But,
oh wow, that'll make your trip a lot easier.
Yeah, well, it will.
I've
got my own interpreter with me because I speak a bit, but about enough to order a beer. And,
that's all you need to know, maybe at times.
But that's about it. It's pretty limited to what I remember from school, which isn't a great deal. So I thought we'd have some fun with this. It is going to be lighthearted, so it's not meant to offend anybody. When we talk about, I think our top 10 things that we've seen again and again and again, the sort of photography cliches, the things we've done as well in the for the most part, we've taken these images as well, but having sort of
we've shot social media, judging, it's things
exactly. I mean, particularly being involved in competitions for a few years and judging, and you just see some of these things you just see over and over again, and after a while you can get a bit tired of it, which is why we thought we'd have a bit of fun with it, just to go through our top 10. So should we crack on with it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so let's do a countdown from 10 to 1. So from number 10 to the top It's a top
It was like
photography
the
cliche.
old Dave Letterman show, the late night
Yeah,
show used to have a countdown, so this is
yeah.
kinda
Well, we had a bit of fun, didn't we, putting this list together and
yeah,
and
and it
going
came
through the
together
list.
quite quickly, which says a lot.
Yeah, which does say a lot.
There wasn't a lot of thought behind this. We were able to quickly parse them out.
Exactly. So in at number 10, we thought we'd go for the generic bird on a stick image.
Mm,
And this is something that I guess this is where we started really with, well, but both of us, I guess, with our bird photography, is the classic bird on a stick.
yeah, getting
But
the bird in focus, no
yeah,
branches or leaves in front of it, and boom. And
yeah,
especially this time of year, I think on our social media feeds, we're seeing a lot of this with spring migration. You have a lot of the songbirds that show up, from either Africa and Europe or South America over here in the United States. But I'm just inundated with these warbler shots and these songbird shots, and it's the bird on the stick singing, and the stick is dressed up a little bit, maybe some fancy flowers or some red buds or some lilacs around it. It's dressed up nicely, and um, the narrative is very long, and the narrative talks about how serendipitous the occasion was and how fortunate the photographer was that this all came together perfectly. So yeah, we see a lot of
yeah,
that.
came together so perfectly with a little speaker playing the call underneath. Generally speaking, but
Yeah.
let's not go there. We
Yeah.
talked about
I
that
was
in
walking out and all was lost until the cerulean warbler came down 80 feet from the treetop and
just
started singing
happened to
just
land on this
beautifully for
perfect
me.
perch in front of me. Yeah,
Yeah.
with a nice buttery smooth out of focus background and the perfect lighting and
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice bokeh.
and we've all done that sort of stuff in the garden as well, where we attract
Yeah.
the birds in with food, and then we'll place the perch next to the feeder and get it all perfectly set up, and they come and queue up on these things basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, I've quite often picked nice mossy twigs or something with blossom on it, depending on the time of year, obviously,
Mhm.
and set these things up, so you have this sort of nice background, you've got the light in the right place, which is always from behind you, obviously, with a
Yeah.
shot like that. I guess it's where we all started, but it does become a little
Yeah.
um,
It's the same shot.
uninventive.
Yeah, compositionally, it's the same shot in the sense that whether it's a hooded warbler or a reed warbler or any kind of warbler or grosbeak, it's just a passerine on a stick with the background. So it's compositionally, it's and I see a lot of photographers, and just from my standpoint, nothing against what they're doing, but they'll go out to photograph all these different birds. And that's great because you're finding the birds and you're shooting them, but it's all the same shot to me compositionally, right? So
Yeah,
you have 20 songbirds and they're all on sticks singing. It's kind of this, and there's varying degrees of it. What I was talking about the cerulean, that's a bit of a hyperbole there, an exaggeration. But I've got bluebird houses in the back, eastern bluebirds nest on my property, and I'll put sticks and perches because they land on those before they go into the house. So that's a good opportunity to get a shot, and that's perfectly fine. And there's always varying degrees of what you can or can't do. But compositionally, they're just boring to me. People
yeah.
like them because of the color, and I get it, and they're beautiful. But after you see so many, it's like, oh, what's
Yeah, I
next?
mean, I do get it. I still like doing it
Yeah,
myself.
it's
I have to
enjoyable.
say, it's enjoyable, but as you say, compositionally, it's not exactly challenging. Which I think, as you move on through your sort of photography journey, then you look for more challenging situations and compositions, but it's always a good place to start. But when you come to judge competitions, or it's not really the thing that's going to be catching your eye anymore. It would have
Yeah,
to be pretty special
yeah.
to do that.
It's
So
hard to be unique with a composition just because it's
yeah,
been overdone, and a lot of people who do them, they're copying others, right? And there's kind of a formula now, and not too many people, I think outside but it's hard to think outside the box with this type of stuff because it's just a small bird and it's going on some branches and it's eating, it's singing and flying around. So how do you get how do you get beyond that? You really can't, you know.
yeah. I think you just have to think about the light differently. I mean, if
Mm,
you're going to do bird on a stick images, instead of having the light behind you, maybe try shooting into the light and try and do some
yeah,
silhouettes or some
yeah,
high key or that sort of thing. Try. try sort of, I don't know, mixing it up a little bit and
Yeah.
just try experimenting. I mean, I did a lot of stuff in the garden with just using backgrounds that were in the shade, but birds that were in the light, but using the light behind them and having them sort of rim lit almost. So all you could see was the rim of light around the bird.
That's that's a nice
That
look.
sort of thing. You know,
I've
still
always
bird on
wanted
a
to do that
stick.
with nightjars. Have you ever seen the nightjar shots? That would be cool too. Like we
Yeah,
have whippoorwills, nighthawks, stuff like that. But with they have such a distinct head and the bill, and they have like
yeah,
some of the feathers on top of the bill. It would just, I'd love to do that. I've seen it done a couple of times, but that's something I've always wanted to do.
yeah. I think when you're doing that sort of outline stuff and that silhouette stuff, the trick with that is you've got to have a subject that's instantly recognizable,
Yeah.
because you don't want people guessing what it is. It's got to be, it's got to lodge itself in your subconscious straight away. And yeah, that's
And I
the
guess
key to those
the
sorts of
angle
shots.
needs to be right too, because you don't want the flash directly behind the bird, angled enough where it's out of the frame, but you're going to get rim light around most of the bird, or at least
Yeah,
as equally applied as possible. Yeah,
yeah.
it could be a little
How
bit
do we get to nighthawks from Bird on a Stick?
yeah, more. You don't see it as much, right? So maybe
No,
our brains are already moving away from the cliche, if you will.
yeah. So that's our number 10 cliche is the classic Bird on a Stick. Place we all started, but and still do it occasionally.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
I'll
think
be
we
seeing 100 more of these tomorrow in my feed on Instagram with
yeah,
all these
yeah.
different
That's
warbler
Josh
shots.
Pilicki, Bird on a Stick album. Is it album or whatever?
It's
Should
fun
we
though.
do? Should we do number 9? And
Yeah,
this is going to be a favorite of yours in particular.
yeah,
So in at number 9 is actually something that's come around reasonably recently, but is being done to death. So in at number 9 is the underwater gannet shot. And
yeah.
I'm laughing because you did this.
Amazing shots, and they're always jaw droppers to everybody, but a lot more people are doing it. And I'm guilty of it. I did it last summer, and it was an absolutely amazing experience, and I got this one shot that really stuck out for me. But again, you're following in the footsteps of others there.
That is an amazing shot. Yeah,
Yeah, and I was like, oh, if I took this shot 8 years ago, but,
yeah,
it probably wouldn't have been possible. I mean, it's kind of it's very, you have to be in a very unique situation to get that shot, certainly. But yeah, it's incredible to experience it, incredible to capture it. I recommend it for anybody to get in their portfolio, but we are seeing a lot more of these shots, especially in
yeah.
competitions, actually, and they do well. I mean, they've continued to do well, but again, because it's been done like the other singing songbird stuff, it's harder and harder to get something original at this point.
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw that, must have been, I think it was year 2 of Bird Photographer. I know it certainly
Okay.
wasn't the first year. I think it
When
was
would
year
that have
2,
been, Rob? So like 2016, 2017?
2017,
Okay.
20, yeah. So that would have been like 7 years ago, as you were
Yeah.
saying, I think. Yeah, so about 7 years ago was the first time I saw it. And I don't think any of the other judges in that room had seen those shots before either, and we had a pretty experienced panel. So it was about that sort of time when it was Richard Shucksmith
Yeah.
that pioneered that shot.
And it took him, and I spoke to him about it, and from what he told me, it took him years to kind of get that process in place and to perfect it where you have the right settings to get that shot. And it kind of blows your mind because everybody, we've all seen underwater photography for many years for fish and whales, sharks, all that stuff, but not like this. For when it comes to gannets, I should say, and birds. I mean, this was like, yeah, it was revolutionary when you first
It
saw it. I
was,
was like,
but
oh,
when you go to that location, and I recommend, if you've
oh,
not done it, oh man, I mean, we laugh about it being a cliche, but God, it's
yeah.
so much fun.
I've
And
photographed gannets in twice actually in North America, up in Quebec. There's a fairly large colony, and there's another one I think in Newfoundland, but nothing like Shetland. I mean,
yeah,
Shetland,
I
it's
mean, the
special.
water's so clear,
Yeah,
and it's just the most amazing place. And these birds are, are literally, yes, they're being fed from the boat. And actually, Phil does something really quite interesting with the fish. So you've got a little tube. So instead of just throwing the fish out, the fish go down a tube. So they end up at least a foot or two underneath the surface. So the gannets actually have to come in and dive for them, which is why you get these, these sort of deep dive type shots. But these birds are coming in and they're almost clipping your shoulders with their wings as you're hanging over the side of the boat. So,
I
excuse
had
me.
one whack me in the face with its wing, and they're and I was kind of surprised too how aggressive they can be. And gannets can be nasty to each other. I've seen it in the colonies, but man, when it comes to grabbing a fish, I mean, it
Oh
is
yeah,
all that war.
yeah,
And then the spears
exactly.
come in, and it's
They're competitive. It's
yeah,
just it is an amazing experience. But I guess this is something that we're seeing again and again because it is so brilliant, and they are when you get a good one, they're as we all know, they're just so wonderful to look at. But
yeah,
yeah, it's
stunning bird.
it's it's sad that when you get something like this, I understand that everybody wants that shot. We're all
Yeah,
the same. We all
yeah.
want to get that sort of thing, and I do understand that.
Rob, when
But
you were on the boat, did there's I think it's a gray seal, or is it a harbor seal? I think it's a gray seal. But did it jump onto the boat when you
yeah,
all came in? That
yeah,
was something else.
that was awesome. Yeah,
I'll tell
it's
you,
a great big it's a bull seal, so it's
yeah,
a
and
big animal.
he jumped on the boat, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, okay, I'm close to him. I'll get my macro out. Well, he got even close. I was like, okay, he's hungry, and
Yeah,
he came within like I don't know a foot of me, and yeah, it was something else. It was something to be that close, and yeah, just to see him plop off and then jump off the boat. It was actually a pretty amazing experience to be that close,
yeah.
but slightly intimidating. I was in the back and he came right up next to me. I'm like, "Whoa. Hey,
Oh
pal."
yeah, they're
Yeah.
they're they're big animals.
And
They're
they can
they're
jump. I mean, I was shocked how easily it made itself, brought itself right up onto the boat.
Yeah, I tell you, and on when you get them on the beaches and things, they're incredibly fast.
Yeah.
But I've been there's a beach in the east of England, which I don't think you can do this anymore, but you used to be able to go out when the females were pupping, and they didn't recommend you did it, but they didn't stop you from doing it. I think it's changed now, and rightly so. But you used to be able to walk out amongst the females that were pupping, and of course the bull seals were there at the same time, wanting to mate with them again once they'd given birth. Honestly, you don't want to get between two of those.
Oh,
Two of
I
those
bet.
bull seals that are fighting, yeah, that's proper scary,
Yeah.
proper
Yeah, I
scary
bet.
stuff.
I bet. I mean, yeah, I've only shot seals on the beach just resting and stuff. I haven't seen them in a full sprint. I've seen sea lions in a full sprint going after penguins down in the Falklands, and that was something to see. But
Yeah,
to
I
have
bet.
one jump up on the boat that easy and literally be about a foot from you, it's a wake up call. It's like, okay, hello. I was
Yeah.
going to pet him, but I decided not to wisely
No,
enough.
I think yes. I don't think that would have been advisable.
Yeah,
Have you seen the teeth on them?
yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty formidable.
you
Yeah.
certainly wouldn't want those jaws around your arm. That's for sure.
No, this seal's got a good racket though. I think he waits around for the fishermen to come back, and he knows where the food is.
Oh, yeah, he gets on the boat because he knows he'll get a fish to get off because they'll throw one into the water for him. So yeah, they're not dumb. They're not.
No.
But it's becoming a bit of a annoyance actually.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, and it's so accustomed to human. You worry about, like they say, anything that's fed is accustomed to humans can be initially a problem, but I don't know if that would ever become a problem, but I don't know. I
Oh
guess
yeah,
if somebody's taken the boat out for the first time and they've never been out on the water and they're relaxing and then a seal jumps on board.
we go. Whoa,
Yeah.
used to the
It's like,
herring gulls, but
yeah.
not not a ginormous seal. But anyway, that was
Yeah.
fun. But no, so diving gannets, fantastic. I mean, do it,
Yeah.
people, if you've not done it. Even if you don't do the underwater stuff, I didn't do the underwater stuff. I just photographed them diving in from the surface and that was incredible. It's an amazing experience. But yeah, that shot is quickly becoming quite a cliche now because a lot of people
Yeah.
understandably want to do it.
And
And
it's tough to capture too. It's like a video game, right? It's you can't, anticipate what's going to happen because it happens so fast. It's just pull the shutter and knowing when to pull the shutter.
I
And these
think
gannets
that,
are so close to the
yeah,
lens, I was going to call it the globe, but whatever you want to call it, the
the
glass
dome, yeah,
enclosure. Yeah. And it's
yeah.
a fisheye. So, I mean, these things are literally inches from the
Yeah,
lens.
I mean, it's that's something that you don't understand until you actually go and do these things. That's what I found quite um, surprising. Actually, was having to uh, adjust the way I shot things because of the situation, and in the end, I took my eye away from the viewfinder and just held the camera over the side of the boat and watched the birds fly in and hit the shutter at as I saw them, because it does happen so fast.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it is pre-focus in the area and, just because you can't follow them down on it's just and I find it, I don't know about you, Rob, but if I'm tracking a subject, to me, I don't know, maybe it's just how I'm built. It's a lot easier to track left to right, right to left in the frame. If I'm going from something going up,
Yeah,
down, I don't know why. I'm just not as good going.
yeah.
It's just
No,
like, oh,
I agree. I think it's probably because they're
maybe I
going.
was playing Nintendo. I don't
It's,
know.
it's
It's trained
probably
my
because they're
brain.
going faster. Number one,
Yeah,
and actually because they're so close to you, that speed is it's not like it's 100 feet away
yeah.
and the tracking is quite easy. If something's really close to you and it's coming in from height and it's diving, so it's doing, I don't know, 60 miles an hour or whatever they're doing when they hit the water.
Is that how fast
Incredible.
they're going? I don't doubt it.
I don't know, but it must be something
It's
like
gotta
that.
be
I would have
super
thought.
fast, yeah. I mean, when
Yeah,
they hit the water, I mean, it's like a bullet.
yeah. It's because they literally in like an arrow.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's an amazing thing to experience. If you haven't done it, go and do it because you won't regret it. It's
yep.
just, and the whole place is just magical anyway. Those sort of dark cliffs and the dark reflections, that dark water
Oh,
at the
that's
base of
amazing,
it.
yeah. When you're
Oh,
around those cliffs, because yeah, the water's basically black, and then when you're outside of the shadows of the cliffs, it's like this aquamarine blue
yeah,
color. I mean, it almost looks like to me, I was a little surprised. It's water I would have expected in like a tropical setting or somewhere closer to the equator, but it's
yeah.
beautiful. It
It's
almost looks
very
like
very
fish
clear
a
a lot of the
little bit,
time.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But I know it's
yeah.
not, but it's beautiful.
Actually, I found when I went there, I liked using that inky water with
Oh,
the contrast you have
stunning
with the gannets
with the white bird.
much more
Yeah,
than actually the sort of diving stuff.
yeah.
I liked I
And the
liked to
seaweed when they'd have the seaweed in their mouth and yeah,
yeah, and then
yeah,
they take off and then their wings would come forward like cloaks. They look quite sinister. It's yeah, that was a lot of fun.
yeah.
That was a lot of fun, and photographing them when they're following the boat in flight as well because you can get
Oh,
really close to them. I
and
enjoyed
that's
that.
easy to photograph in a flight because they're just tracking with the boat, so it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah, and you got you got the bonksies coming in as well occasionally,
yeah,
which is all good fun. Anyway, we
yep.
digress. So number
So it's
9,
well done.
yeah,
It's all well done, but yeah, do it, please. And it's a
yeah,
cliche, but definitely try doing it.
yeah, absolutely. So that was number 9, underwater gannets. In at number 8, one of my favourites is mute swans, but with the pair with their necks that have come together in a heart shape. That one, that,
Yeah.
that, that one is done to death. I mean,
Especially in the UK with mute swans, right?
yeah,
Because they're so tame and people get so close to them in, ponds and parks and stuff like that. I see that all the time. It's a great
yeah.
shot. And it looks good silhouette and frontlet even too, but
Yeah, there's a number of ways you can do it. I mean, you've got all sorts of options, and you've got to time it right actually to get that shot. It's not as easy as it seems, but I get why people do it, and I think people do it because they've seen it and they think, "Oh, that's a really good idea," because you've got the male and the female, and it's kind of, I guess it's a courtship thing. You've got this, it's almost saying connection and is a symbol of love and all this sort of stuff, and actually when you look at the swan itself, it's a very elegant looking bird. It's almost sort of virginal, isn't it? That sort of pure, being white plumage like that, unless you're in Australia and you've got black swans, of course, which I'm sure people do it with them as well. But yeah, and I think being white, particularly if you've got something, if you've got something like mist or whatever, you can get it's a really cool shot. But
Yeah,
it's yeah,
it's
it's
been
it's
done.
been done to death. Do you know? It's not a shot I've ever taken. I
Me,
don't
me
think.
either. I mean, here on the Eastern Shore, we have tons of tundra swans in the winter, and I shoot them for months, but they're not courting; they're just floating around. And often I thought, oh, I wish they'd come together a little. I mean, I have some shots of them come, but not like that. And I would definitely hit the trigger, no doubt. But I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. I mean, courting swans is just the most amazing thing to watch, actually,
Yeah,
because they're so elegant and they're that you can't help but feel some sort of empathy with them when they're doing it because it's not human like, but do you know what I mean? It's you can
yeah,
you can understand what's going on. It's very tender and very
yeah,
intimate.
yeah. And the
What they
shapes and
do.
the colors reflect that.
Yeah,
They're all symbolic of what's going on in the act, which is really
yeah.
cool.
I mean, the act itself is can be a bit shocking. When the male actually gets on top of the female
Yeah.
and then will push the whole of the female underwater for a few seconds and then release her, and it's that point where you can get some really, if you're lucky enough to see that, which I've only seen it a couple of times, but one I had in Biblical Light, you'll remember.
There's a
um,
lot less of that than there
yeah,
is the courtship.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the courtship rather than I, yeah, I said I've never taken that shot knowingly. I can't remember I've got that in my portfolio, but to be honest, I don't think that's something I would look for. I would,
If
I would
it
look.
happens, I guess, right?
Yeah,
But and the angle's important, I guess, there too. You want them parallel to you as much as possible and all that. But
exactly. I mean, there's a lot of things that have got to come together. They've got to be
yeah,
swimming towards each other, and you've got to shoot it at the right time. I mean, with the frame rates we've got now, it's a bit easier.
it's
Have
gonna
a few
be even
choices,
more easier, yeah, moving forward. Yeah.
but yeah. So I love mute swans. They're one of my favorite photographic subjects. They're so uh, easy to photograph. They're so
Yeah.
accessible, but I like to do a few different things with them rather than those classic cliched shots. So that's our number 8.
Yeah.
The swan necks making the heart. Um, so number 7. This is, to be honest, I have to say this is a shot I just hate. Just
Me too.
really, I really hate it. Is the displaying peacock. So it's the fantail and the peacock head in the middle. I don't know how many of those I've seen over the years. I, but I
A lot.
just, yeah, it's probably,
And the peacock head is not always sharp because there's so much going on. I think the camera picks up the contrast in the tails. So a lot of times the tail feathers are sharper or the head is soft and it's like, but
yeah, or not enough shutter speed's been used, or we've got the wrong
yeah,
angle. The lighting is very often poor as well,
yeah.
actually, because a lot of people don't think about that aspect of it. So it's yes, it's a beautiful thing. And it is, that tail is completely amazing. But
And
yeah,
it's one of the rare birds you can shoot. I guess over here you could shoot a turkey displaying, where you could get the entire body or feathers of the bird can constitute the whole background of the image and you get the face in there. So there's only a few birds you can do that with. So I get why it's done, but boy, has it been done.
yeah. I mean, you do the same thing with grouse as
Yeah,
well,
you'd have to
of
be
course.
pretty close, I guess, but yeah, you
Yeah,
could. I prefer the African version where, well, it's two animals, but where you have an oxpecker and the background is the Cape buffalo, where you just
yeah,
have I like that look better or that composition better than the peacock, where you just have the face and the feathers behind it.
yeah. I mean, I understand it, but of course, it's we got a lot of them here because they're a collector's thing.
Mm.
So they'll be domesticated birds a lot of the time, and so they're not
Same,
scared
same,
of.
same here. A lady down the street from me, Rob, she owns a farm and she has peacocks on there. And I think she lets them like upstairs. They nest in the house. It's kind of she's a bit of an
Mhm.
eccentric lady. I know she likes her her Bloody Marys and whatnot. But anyhow, yeah, she has this whole armada of peacocks around her property, and she lets them nest all over the place. But I see them all the time. I think maybe I should photograph these things, but I haven't done it.
Do you know, the thing I don't like about them, that I think the most, I hate the noise they make.
Yeah,
Really annoying.
yeah.
My parents, over the back of their house, at one point they had people that kept peacocks, and honestly, it used to drive me insane when I went around there. Just
Yeah, I don't care for their call. Ringneck pheasant's another one I don't care for either. They remind
no,
me.
me neither.
Yeah,
That sends Sky absolutely nuts.
that mechanical kind of
Yeah,
shrill.
if
Yeah,
we if we're out and about, because of course they're not native here,
yeah.
and they're released. Don't get me started on that one. Actually, I won't. I won't. I won't go on a rant. But because she's a spaniel, and she, it's in her DNA, I guess.
Yeah.
Every time she hears a pheasant, it just sends her completely ballistic. You know?
If there's such a thing as reincarnation, I do not want to come back as a ringneck pheasant.
No, me neither.
You can be bred, and then you fly up and boom, and then
I'm
you're gonna
say, life expectancy isn't
yeah
brilliant, is it?
move on to the next reincarnation quite quickly.
Exactly. Yeah. So peacocks and that
Yeah,
fantail, no, not for me.
no,
Not for me.
it's just been done, and it's cool. I mean, I get it. Rarely can you use an animal's body to encompass the whole background of a frame. That's cool,
Yeah.
but
That
yeah.
I wonder how you could do it differently. There must be a way of making that shot different and making it stand out somehow.
I mean, I've seen it done where, like I was saying before, and this is more accidental, where the feathers are in focus and the head is not. But aesthetically, unless I'd have to see some other versions of it, I've seen it done that way by accident, of course. But it doesn't look too good or appealing to me because you're so close and the head becomes so blurry, where it's like
Mhm.
maybe motion, with the feathers
Yeah.
moving in the background, like a little bit of motion might add some interest.
Tell you what you could do actually. Here's a thought. How about with a zoom, taking a longish exposure and zooming out as you're
Mm,
taking the shot, so you've got the head kind of central and maybe sharpish, and then
yeah.
you've got the feathers almost with that sort of time travel type blur. That warp speed blur.
Yeah, that
I
might
call
work
it.
actually. That sounds interesting, and
Yeah.
you could even do a multi-exposure in camera too with some stuff too. That might look
Oh,
cool.
now that's a really good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
especially if it's
So,
shaken and it's staying relatively kind of in the same area. You can play around with that.
yeah, you could have a sharp one, and then you could do a motion blur or a zoom in and zoom out, and then yes,
Yeah,
I like
that
that.
would that
Combine the
would be
two.
interesting actually. Yeah.
There you go. There we are. Giving everybody an idea
All
now. If you
right.
want to
All right.
shoot a peacock, please don't shoot it in the,
Yeah.
in the standard way. Get more creative. Come on. It's a beautiful bird, but we can shoot these things in a different way. That's for sure. So yeah.
Definitely.
So that's our number 7. Is the peacock with a fantail. So in at number 6, we have ospreys, bald eagles, white-tailed eagles, whichever one you want to choose, catching fish.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you see so many of them, and I think it's been done so much. I think it would be very difficult to come up with something extremely unique at this point. Maybe if there were, I don't know, and I've even seen them where you have one fish in each talon, right? So there's two fish. I've seen it done every other way through blind. I know they do it in Scotland. They shoot out of blinds in Scotland, right? So they have the whole setup or the
Yeah,
impact. Here we have this place called Conowingo Dam. It's a hydroelectric dam, and the fish come through. It's on the Susquehanna River. They come like shad and back. It comes out. The fish are stunned a little bit, and the eagles and it's in wintertime. So eagles, osprey, osprey in the late fall before they leave, and eagles more so in the winter. They come and they pick up the fish, and there's hundreds of photographers that are taking those images, and they just get blasted everywhere. And water level. higher up, looking down, looking up, and it's just been done 6 ways to Sunday. So
Done to death. That
yes,
one.
yes.
Absolutely. And as amazing as they are, and the Ospreys in Scotland, which is what I see mostly. I mean, you can get the most amazing light, and you get the most amazing action shots, as you say, water level, higher up, whatever. But it has been done and done and done, and yeah, it's something I'd like to go and do that myself. Now, I've never photographed ospreys catching fish, and I would go and do it. I would definitely go and do it.
Yeah.
But it has been done to death. One of the most interesting shots I ever saw actually was from somebody who put a camera underwater, so they got that underwater perspective.
I remember that shot.
Yeah,
That was a Bird Photographer of the Year, wasn't
it
it?
was. I
Yeah,
think.
and I
Yeah,
don't think it made the book, Rob. I saw it when it was Photo Crowd, when you voted on it.
yeah.
I remember the crowd favorite or whatever that was some years ago. I'm not sure it was in the book, or maybe it was. I can't
I don't
remember.
know.
I
I
know
think
what
there
you're
was
talking.
there might have been some discussion over baiting on that one.
Mm, yeah,
I think that
ethics
was
around it. Yeah,
there might have been an ethical question.
yeah,
Um, I seem to remember something like that, perhaps. But that was that was inventive, I
yeah,
thought, because then that's something, it's a subject that everybody's seen and can understand, but it's just done in a different way. So yeah, I thought that was
yeah.
very, very clever. It's rather like the Gannets, I guess, in lots of ways.
And like the gannets, these eagle and osprey shots, because I mean it's unique behavior, but it's not like people are going to any routine random place and being able to capture that. In order to get it, um, there's only a few areas where it's repetitive and reliable. So, like I was saying, Conowingo Dam, some of these hides in Scotland, and that makes it even more, I think, cliche because the shots that we see are from the same location. Not only is it the same
Yeah,
behavior and the same composition, but it's from the same locations. The colors, the environment, everything is pretty much the
the
same.
angles are the same. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's so it's very. I was lucky last summer. I had a fledgling. I guess we wouldn't call it a fledgling, but it was a young adult osprey, and it left the nest. They breed in the back here on a platform, and it left the nest. The parents left. I guess the way it works, at least in North America, I suspect it's the same over in Scotland, but the parents leave first and they leave the young on their own. The young hang around for a little bit and then they migrate south and they stay down there for a couple of years. But this young one was learning the fish, and I was out there with my kayak and it would dive right in front of me, miss, go back up, wait, dive over. So I had some amazing opportunities. Now it didn't get the fish, unfortunately, but it was really cool. Outside of a situation like that, I've never come across a situation other than these specific areas we have here where it's expected repetitive behavior where these birds congregate, and it's the same setting, same everything.
yeah. I mean, what would be really cool, wouldn't it, would be a half in, half out shot. But the
Yeah.
problem with those sorts of things is um, you can't use a long lens because
Yep.
you're just going to lose the underwater bit in the
And it
cloud
has
or the
to be
water
baited,
effect.
right? I mean, there's no
It
way
has
you
to be
can set it
baited.
up and, it would be a one and you have a better chance of hitting a lottery ticket, I think, than getting
Exactly,
that
but
you know,
yeah, would be a great thing if you could do it. But
yeah.
it's coming up with ideas of shooting things in a different way. But then as I said, you always bang your head against the ethical issues as well. Um,
And that's where the ethical issues come up, I think, Rob, is because it's when you have a situation like osprey eagles with fish, it's been done so much and so well over the years. People are like, oh, I got to push the envelope. And the only way to push the envelope is to manipulate the scene and get past some of those boundaries that a lot of photographers are concerned about from an ethical standpoint. If you don't do that, if you don't set up some tank with fish in it or whatever, you're not going to get that underwater shot. So it pushes people, unfortunately, to kind of try to break the rules and get something different. But they have to manipulate it because there's no other way to do it. It's
yeah,
all been done.
yeah. I mean, to try and go out and shoot something unique like that just off the bat in a natural environment is so difficult. You have to, in most cases, manipulate the situation to some degree. I mean, again, it's no different, aren't they? Are they? I mean, they're being fed,
Yeah.
so they're being attracted
Yeah.
to come and feed right in front of you, and it would be
Which
no
doesn't make
different.
the shot easy, but it's still that environment sets up, or even like, the whale shark, a couple years ago, what was that in Wild Art, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
well, right, yeah,
the situation, if those situations weren't there, just because the situation of feeding is there does not mean the shot is easy, right? It's
yeah,
still extremely difficult to come up with a good shot, but
or something different,
yeah,
which is generally what we consider as a good shot, I guess. And the whole point
yeah,
of this thing is, to get people thinking about, having a bit of a giggle with the cliched stuff, and
mhm,
but trying to get people to think a little bit differently, and perhaps how they can add a twist to
mhm,
something which is photographed a lot. I mean, it's a bit like some of the landscape scenes. Some of those things which are photographed again and again and again. The images that do well are either taken with some amazing biblical light that doesn't happen very often in that place, or the photographer has come at it from a slightly different perspective, and done
yeah,
something that other people don't do. And I think the same can be said, for some of these cliched things, because there's a point, there's a reason why people take these shots, because they're great,
yeah,
and people are attracted to
high
replicating what
impact,
other people have
yeah,
done. Yeah, the high impact shots that you want on in your portfolio, as you say. But perhaps think about things just a little bit differently. Get those banker shots if you like. Nobody's going to blame you if you do that. But then perhaps think about things a little bit differently. But some of these things like ospreys and eagles catching, I mean, that's a difficult one to try
yeah.
and do something a little different. But
It's interesting when you say landscapes, and maybe it's just me because I shoot wildlife more than I'll shoot a landscape here and there, but I feel like there's a lot more variability when it comes to compositions and more opportunities with wildlife. It's fresher than landscapes, and that's why for me, when I look at landscape shots, the shots that impress me are shots that are tighter shots where maybe it's not. I wouldn't even call. Yeah, I guess you can call it landscape. Things
intimate
that
landscapes, yeah,
yeah, not the broad vista stuff. I think every broad vista, overpowering, incredible view has been shot a million times, right? It's the dialing in a little bit and looking at specific smaller scenes. That's the stuff that sticks out to me now because I've seen the Iceland views, the waterfall view. A lot of these things have been done so many times that
yeah. And
it,
they're not exactly, I'll say they're not difficult. They
yeah,
aren't. I mean, if you've got a beautiful place and you know a little bit about composition and how to work your camera, and you get some amazing conditions, you're going to come away with some good stuff. There
yeah.
is no doubt. So yeah.
The woodland stuff I think interests me, and I know it interests you too because
Well, I was
you're really
just
trying
about
to
to
make
mention
order
that.
out of
Yeah,
chaos, right? I mean, think
yeah,
about all the variability there. Um,
yeah. I think I like the challenge of it,
yeah,
actually, woodland, because the thing is, yes, there are places that are well known. I can think of a wood in Devon, for example, where it's got all these sort of gnarly old oak trees, uh, and it's real sort of Lord of the Rings type stuff. It's an amazing place. I've not been, but some of the photographs that come out of there, you just go, "Wow, this is," it's almost sort of prog rock album cover type stuff.
yes, right, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, pun intended, right? Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And you know, so there are those places, but most of the areas that I go, you're shooting things that people haven't done before, and angles that people haven't shot before, and you have to work a lot harder. And I quite enjoy the challenge of that.
yeah, I agree.
But anyway, yes. So where were we? Oh yeah, ospreys. How do we go down these rabbit holes? I really don't know. But anyway, we seem to find our way there. Um, Number five, one of my favourites.
Mm,
In at number five is the reflection pool.
mm. From a constructed blind.
Yeah, well, a constructed reflection pool generally.
Yeah.
There's videos on YouTube about making your own reflection pool
Wow.
for your back garden.
Well, I guess that makes sense, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
become such a um where did that start, Rob? Where did you first start seeing those images in Hungary, right? I mean, I think that's where I know
No,
there was what's it, the famous photographer. He did the
Bense.
Bense Mate or
Yeah,
Mate, but I know he did the blinds in South Africa, and I forgot the name of the areas. It starts with a Z, I think. It's south of Kruger, but yeah, I
yeah.
think that's when I first started seeing a lot of those types of images, especially at night. The night images from the with the
Well,
reflection of the calm
I
water.
think, yeah, I think the idea. I mean, I've seen a lot of self-made type reflection pools for garden bird photography.
Mm,
There's
yeah.
that sort of thing, where you get, I don't know, somebody will get something as simple as a, dustbin lid, even something like that, put moss and things around the outside of it, fill it with water, get it at a certain angle, and of course, the birds will come down if you entice them with food generally.
Hmm.
Sit on the edge of these things, and of course, you can create this. Talk about, we were talking about manipulating, the environment, and this is the classic for that. But
Yeah.
you get this sort of nice reflection of the birds out on, I mean, it works. So they're very pleasing images, but yeah, I've seen
And
that
it's
over.
done at all types of scale. Like you were just saying, a trash lid with some songbirds coming down or nuthatches or whatever. And same with a watering hole in Africa. It's the same thing with, rhinos or elephants or whatever.
Or a little pond with badgers and things like that. I've seen
Yeah.
seen that sort of stuff
Yeah.
done.
It
Foxes.
it's especially loved by a lot of photographers for the nighttime stuff where the,
Yeah,
kind of a dim light is on and you'll get, a leopard, at the watering hole or whatever. Skunks. I've seen all kinds of stuff, but, yeah, the low key reflection nighttime stuff seems to be a trend, or it has been a trend for the last couple of years. But
yeah,
we've seen tons of these things.
yeah, exactly. But it's funny, isn't it? How things get. You always get a trend with stuff, don't you?
Yeah,
I think it's this sort of self-perpetuating thing. People see it on social media and go, "Oh, that's a really good idea. I'd like to take that." And then you can just go and pay your money, go somewhere and do it, or you can construct your own because it's quite easy to do,
yeah,
depending on you know what you're actually looking at photographing. As I said, doing it in the garden with garden birds would be fairly straightforward.
yeah.
It
It's
wouldn't
easy.
take much time at all. You know.
The reflections I really like. It's not done as much, but I see it more often. I don't. I want to say I don't know if she's started this trend or not, but there's a Spanish photographer, Marina Cano, some years ago. She took a shot of, I think it might have been a giraffe, elephant. It was a big five animal, or it was somewhere in Africa, where you had the body of water and the reflections were in the water, like sunset. You had gold tones, pink tones, and then she flipped it. So she flipped it in post, where the
Messing
reflections
with
are,
your brain.
yeah,
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 and you've got
yeah,
like the circular outline of that looks really good. I've seen it done with birds, mammals. It's done here and there, not as often as the standard blind stuff, but that to me is more aesthetically pleasing than just the
yeah.
literal things of three rhinos having a drink at night with a spotlight on it. It's
But
great
I
to
mean,
see actually.
you've got a line of photographers taking the same thing.
Yeah, I did it in Africa, and it was at a place outside of Kruger. It was in Lovu, I think was the name of it. This was a couple of years ago. And instead of just doing the Kruger kind of safari walk, we're like, okay, we'll do, I think we did 2 days in these blinds. And I have to say, it's fun because it's exciting when something shows up. But it's kind of boring. I mean, you sit in there, you can't make any noises, and you have food and coffee, and then you have to go to the bathroom, and everybody's mad because it's like, well, I gotta go. When you open the door, nothing's gonna come up to the watering pool, right? So it's kind of monotonous, and you're sitting there. There's no physical activity involved. There's no nothing. I don't know. 2 days, it was too much for me. In hindsight, I would
Yeah,
have done it just for a day. I find it pretty boring, actually. But
yeah. I mean, it's not really my sort of thing, to be honest.
yeah.
I would much rather look for natural reflections that haven't been photographed before,
Hmm. Yeah.
because it's not, oh, there's the hide, there's the pool, these are the same animals coming
Yeah.
time and time again. It's the same setup, it's the same shot.
Yeah.
I like reflection images which perhaps include something interesting. So if you've got, for example, I took a tufted duck, I took a series of them because in spring I've got this location which is just down the road from me. In spring, you've got these sort of lovely, vibrant greens of the willow trees as they're coming into leaf. The sun comes up over my shoulder, shines on the willow tree. The willow tree's reflection in the water gives this sort of lovely gold color. It's like liquid gold.
Mm.
And we got these black and white tufted ducks with a blue bill, and they're floating around in this thing, looking really cute.
Good
And you can
color
get
combo
some,
too. Blue and gold is great. Yeah.
yeah, you can get some that sort of thing. To me, if you're going to use reflections, that's the way I like to use them,
Yeah.
and create something unique rather than something which is, well, it might have been seen before a million times because it's the same location, the same thing, or it's the same idea, just
And the
done in a
hides are always
environment.
built at the water level, right? So if you're getting like if there's trees reflecting in the water, you're not going to get it, right? Because you're not shooting up and you're not, so some of the thing I like reflections where you'll have like a duck floating through or something, and then you have the reflections of all the foliage
Yeah,
and the trees around it into the water. It
that's
looks
what makes
better.
it really interesting.
Yeah, than just the eye level stuff. And you'll always be told by whoever's running these blinds, well, last week, a couple people got lucky. A leopard was on a kill and it was a dramatic scene, and you might get lucky this time. And then, oh, you get excited. And of course, you walk
Yeah,
away with some
and I
Impala
tell you
after a
what,
drink, and that's
I
fine.
used to buy lottery tickets as well. I never got lucky.
So you normally don't, I guess. So don't fall in. And these are expensive too. They were a pretty penny. I did it also, 'cause come to think of it, some years ago in Texas. There's a few ranches on the border of Texas and Mexico, and they have setups, and all these birds are going through. They're not. I don't. I can't remember if they had some food out for like green jays and stuff, but like other passerine, like warblers and stuff will come in, and they're not baited. They're just coming through because there's water there, right? And Texas is sparse, so it concentrates
Yeah,
the migrants. And it was fun, but again, I did it for a couple days. It was pretty monotonous, no physical activity. It was hot, and it was not cheap, from what I remember. This was about 10
yeah.
years ago, I guess, but no, I don't do it too often. But there's so
No.
many images that come out of these things, and they're all dressed up. Somebody goes
See, I mean,
in and
that's
they
that's the other that's the other thing. You do have to have a bit of elevation, don't you, to get some interesting
yeah,
reflections.
yeah, and you're always
Yeah,
at the water or that's how they set you up for.
yeah,
Where the only thing you're going to get is the reflection of the bird in the water. Um, Especially if in most of the shots you see bathing is a big one, uh, and just drinking at the water's edge. Those are the two main ones, or a mammal, I
no,
guess.
birds look so scruffy when they're wet.
Yeah, yeah. You want the splash, I guess, and all that. But again, been done many,
Yeah,
many
been done.
times.
I mean, when you think about all those sort of lovely shots again, for a lot of them from Shetland, with the reflections of the boats in the water, and
Yeah.
the colors you can get into those
Those I
shots
like
that
because
way.
it's different,
Yeah,
but still, yeah, it's been, I'll tell you who has some amazing shots is Rebecca. She
yeah,
has some shots in the wintertime of like eiders going through and some textures in the water. Really, really cool stuff.
yeah, almost some sort of black and white stuff where the water's disturbed
Yeah.
and it's creating those almost like zebra-like
Yeah.
lines.
Very
It's just
cool. I
fantastic.
love
And
that
you
shot.
and you got this male eider coming through it. It's just fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all
I
that
had
sort of stuff.
I had one opportunity similar. Well, it was kind of in that vein. We were in Alaska, and we were on this little lake, and there were red-throated loons, or red red-throated divers, I guess you would
Yeah,
call them.
yeah, yeah,
And they were floating by. We were photographing them, and there were these seaplanes because everybody who lived on this lake, they had a seaplane park, reds, blues, and all of that was reflected in the water. So it was cool. I've got red-throated loons going by with blue and red. The water was blue and red. How weird is that, right? Because of the
yeah.
plane, So it was a pretty cool experience. But again, it's been done, but it's fun.
Yeah, no, I mean all that sort of stuff. Yeah, love it, love it. Okay, so that's the that's the reflection pool. And talking of things that can be slightly controversial, I guess, especially from an ethical point of view, in at number 4, we've got drone shots of bird flocks. Now,
Yeah,
this has become a real thing, hasn't it? I mean,
yeah,
what would you say? Maybe 8 years, perhaps,
yeah. 8 years.
started
I mean,
coming
ever
in.
since the DJI drones got really popular some
Yeah,
years ago, and it's always, mostly flamingos or wading birds. And it's cool. I mean, you get the flocks of birds, especially if they're white birds and you have the green textures, the islands, or the pink flamingos against dark water. It looks great, but it's been done over and over and over again. And from an ethical standpoint, these drones are harassing the birds. they're freaking out, and it's making them fly. I think what they do,
Generally
they
speaking, yes. Yeah.
yeah, they'll normally fly the drone. I don't know this, but I presume they'll fly the drone over top, and they'll go lower and lower and lower until the birds fly, and then they follow with the drone and they take the shot. And maybe some birds are fine with it, and it's just natural behavior. That's cool. But I suspect in a lot of these shots, they're irritating. Um,
Yeah.
they're irritating all whatever their
I mean,
subjects are.
here's
They're
the
never
thing. I
flying
mean,
toward the drone. Put it that way.
yeah, I mean, here's the thing with a lot of those, certainly the early things and the cheaper end of the market, you're looking at cameras that have got pretty wide angle lenses. So you need actually to be very close,
Yeah.
even when you've got might appear to be, a wide view and it might appear to be a reasonable distance away, but you'd be surprised at how close some of these things actually have to be.
What are they, like 24 millimeter? A lot of them, I think
Yeah.
that, or
Yeah.
that, or the effective of like a 24 millimeter focal
Yeah, I
length.
mean, it's about, when you look at the EXIF data, it's about 3.5 or something daft,
Yeah,
but yeah, it's
yeah,
effectively about 24.
yeah. I
Yeah.
have a Mavic Air, a Mini, and I've used it in the cove out back for swans and stuff when ice forms because you get the ice. And we've seen a lot of that too,
Yeah.
which looks great, by the way. That's actually more unique to me is when you get the birds on the ice with the patterns and stuff versus just the flying with the water.
I think that takes a bit more skill actually
It does.
to
It
get a
does.
decent composition out of that. Yeah.
You have to know the environment and whatnot, and you can get lucky because some of the patterns form the composition and lines to the birds and all that. But there's a lot less of that out there versus just the birds and the flock of birds flying. Mostly flamingos, I think. Those are the ones I see the most.
Well, I think A, because they form large flocks. B, they're a large bird,
Yeah,
which makes things easier, and obviously they're sort of white, pink, bright colors against, generally speaking, of darker backgrounds, so they'll stand out.
yeah.
I think that's why they work, particularly with some of those sort of darker lakes. That's and
It's always up looking down, right? I mean,
yeah,
there was one shot that stood out, and it was not cliche. There was a photographer. It was in Bird Photographer of the Year a couple of years ago, I think, and I think they were pink-footed geese. Was a Norwegian photographer. He shot them from the side. They were actually flying right next to the drone, and there was a barn in
was
the distance.
was that not
Terrier, I think, a
that
Terrier
yeah,
Colossus.
yeah, was that not grey legs, or it might have been pink feet actually? Yeah,
Maybe
it
gray
was
lag
pink
too,
feet.
whatever. It was one of
Yeah,
those. I don't think they were barnacle. I think it was probably gray lag or pink footed or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. And I think that one in Nature Potty too.
It did. Yeah,
It was
it's a very good
really
shot.
cool because you felt like you were flying with the geese in that shot versus looking down at a pattern.
Yeah, no, that was incredible shot, that. But
Yeah,
no, those I've always, I don't know, I'm always slightly wary of drone images simply because of the ethical
yeah,
issue. And I've seen some shots where clearly the birds are flying away from the thing
yeah.
because they're you can see the splashes where their feet are making on the surface of the water as they're taking flight.
Well, that's right.
And
The water contrails, you
yeah,
could see that. Yeah,
yeah, and they're going away from the image, if you like. So they're
yeah.
away from the drone. So it's the drone that's making them fly. And I
And there's other things we've seen too over the years that kind of blow my mind a little bit where you'll have owl shots and the drone has to be within a foot or a few feet of the owl
there
and
was
the owl
there
is
was
not moving.
there was an image in Bird Photographer. It
I
was
think it
a
was a
hawk
hawk
owl.
owl, the
Yeah,
one
it was
where,
a hawk
yeah,
owl at the top of a tree.
stunning, drop down. It's like, oh my God. I mean, when you look
Yeah.
at that image, you're like, wow. But the bird did not look at all antagonized or anything. But again, that the drone, if it was a drone, it's not clear
It
that
was.
I don't, was it? Yeah. It had
Yeah.
to be very close. I mean, within spitting distance of the owl, but the owl
You
didn't
see,
seem
and
to care.
you see, this is the issue. I mean, no, it didn't look agitated. I mean, it was looking straight at it. I think that was,
Yeah.
but
You'd think it would fly away, right? Or it would have, but I don't know.
personally, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Yeah. If the
I
blade hit
don't think
the
I
owl, God forbid, or whatever,
no,
or maybe
I
the
c
owl thought it could have been prey. Nah, probably not. Um, but yeah, yeah, I don't know. that kind of blew my mind when I saw it. I'm like, oh my
Oh,
god,
it was an amazing shot. Yeah, I mean, that talk about inventive.
yeah,
I don't know, but there's something about. I mean, I have got a drone, but I don't use it for wildlife.
yeah,
That I haven't
yeah. It's
used
a
it in
tough
a long
thing.
time. Just
It's a tough, and if you take the shot and you say it was ethical, who's to say people looking at it are going to think it is, right? I mean, that I think when most people who have an ethical mind, when they look at photographs, I think they're immediately going to be skeptical of any drone shot. I just think that's just
yeah,
the way it is. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think they work really well. Going back to woodland photography, I really like those sort of above the canopy type
Yeah.
shots. They can be really interesting.
Yep.
Really interesting. It looks like all sorts of different. I've got one shot that looks like broccoli. You know, it's the surface of broccoli. It's just weird.
I love the fall shots actually. When you have the
Yeah,
fall color and the road going through and
yeah. Those sorts of. Well, that's another cliche, isn't it? Now, you know,
yeah.
the rain.
We got to hit the landscape top 10 after this,
Yeah,
right?
landscape top 10. Yeah. Oh, dear. Anyway, so yeah, drones. I think there's an ethical issue about them, but yeah, there's plenty of those sort of flock type shots coming in now, and it's not new anymore. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so in at number 3, so we're getting down to the nitty gritty and the most common things that we see. This has got to be probably the most photographed bird, and the thing that I used to see in competitions more than anything else. So
Especially in
number
the
3,
UK, right? Yeah.
yeah, number 3 is the puffin, particularly the puffin with sand eels in its bill.
Yeah.
It's, I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. They are the cutest, most lovable bird you've ever seen. They've got this, well, as people will know, we all know what a puffin looks like. It's got this human like face, it's got a clown like face. It's just, I don't know, it just looks so adorable. It's got
Yeah.
this
Very
lovely,
cute.
colorful bill. It, I don't know. It's just something about a puffin that, let's put
Even the
it
way
this
they
way.
walk is cute. I mean, their sound, everything about them,
Yeah,
you just want to pick them up and and pet 'em.
exactly. I mean, you know, if you, what are you going to pick for a picture of a vulture or a picture of a puffin? You're going to go for the puffin every time, aren't you? Simply because it's just so adorable.
Yeah.
And for those that haven't been to a puffin colony and photographed them, when during the breeding season, because it's the only time they come and they spend any time on land, they have absolutely no fear of humans at all, because they just don't understand, you know, why they should. Um, so that they're very confiding. So you can get so close to them, your wide angle lenses. But you know, you've seen this at Hermann, obviously.
That's almost a cliche now too, is the wide angle puffin on the cliff. And that's
Yeah,
almost become cliche.
yeah. Thanks to Kev Morgans.
Yeah,
He's
and I'll tell you
taken
what,
some
when I
brilliant stuff.
yeah, he killed it, and he had a skewer there and the puffin, and,
Yeah,
when we went to Hermanus last year, the first composition we saw, we walked out, it was that spot, and the puffins were there. I'm like, "Oh my god, wide angle," and Kerm and I were excited, we got our stuff, and we said I'm like, "This is the spot." It
yeah,
was like I walked into the book in that image, I'm like, "This is the spot,"
yeah.
and they hang out right there, and you can get within, foot.
But I think that's a good example actually of somebody taking a common subject and going, do you know what? I'm
Yeah,
not going to go for the detail shot. I'm not going to go for the sand eels in the mouth. I'm going to go for the bird and its environment and actually make it small in the frame and show people. And that's, you know, and his shots were, well, they are amazing. You know, he's
yeah.
done a whole book on them.
Oh yeah, he was the forerunner. I think when it comes to if there is a category for puffin photography, Kevin Morgan is the
Actually,
god.
we ought to get Kev on. So,
Yeah,
Kev,
that
if
would
you're
be great.
listening,
He's such a
we'll,
great guy.
yeah, I'll drop you a line. We'll
Nobody
get
works
you on.
harder than him too. I mean, he works hard. He camps in these spots and shoots them for months. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah. I mean, he's camping on Shetland on
I
Hermanus.
know what that would be like because I've
Yeah,
been there. I don't think I could camp there.
it's exposed, so he gets a bit of weather, I'm sure.
First
He
time
has
rain hit me like coming up, like the rain was coming from my feet up to my face. That
yeah,
was the first in my life. And the wind hits you, you could barely hold your camera up. So I'm
yeah.
thinking, yeah, I
Welcome
don't think I
welcome to
would.
the UK. No, it's a pretty unique place, I have
Yeah.
to say. But yeah, the amount of times I've seen images of puffins. I mean,
Oh,
particularly the one, it's the classic, isn't it? It's the classic shot that everybody wants. The
yeah.
sand eels in the bill when obviously it's feeding young.
Yeah.
And it's probably, I would say, well, no, without doubt, it's not probably, it is without doubt, or was when I was involved in the competition, the most popular entry, I think, into bird photography of the year was shots of puffins.
Yeah, makes sense. And
You
I'll
know,
tell you, the eel shot is not easy to get after shooting them over there, in was it, Sunborough Head and
Sunborough Head, yeah.
Hermanus. When they bring these eels back, they go normally they make a beeline right into their holes to, their nest to feed the young. They don't stand on they don't advertise because, of course,
No, they
speed
get
over
mugged by
there.
seagulls. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a tough shot to get, but, that shot has been got.
It has been got. Yeah, it has been got.
Yeah.
I tell you, the one of the shots that of featuring a puffin that I thought was amazing was do you remember Bryden's shot of the skewer
Oh,
and the
eating
puff predating the puffin in
yeah,
flight?
that was wild. Yeah.
That was wild. That was wild. It's not something a lot of people would want to see, actually.
No, because 'cause they're so cute, no one wants to see that, yeah, you don't see that often. We had a situation where we had I guess a Bonxi skua came down and went after these puffins, and they all jolted. It didn't get one, but they can fly pretty fast. The ski, and they'll bank pretty quickly. They're not as fast as the what is it? I guess you would say Arctic skua or the long, but still, I mean, puffins are fast when you see them fly. In order to get that, I think you have to be at the right place in the right
Yeah,
time. That's a pretty rare thing to see.
yeah, it is. I mean, that was an amazing shot.
Yeah.
I just remember it's very impactful. I mean, from a technical point of view, from an artistic point of view, but it wasn't that. It wasn't that sort of shot. It was an impactful shot. And no, it's funny how these sort of things stick in your mind.
Yeah.
When I've seen a million pictures of puffins, I've
With
never
the
seen
eels.
something like that. And yeah, exactly. I mean, I couldn't determine one from another a lot of the time.
The ones that would stick out for me, Rob, were the ones where the puffin's face was wet. There was a little bit of, water, and you'd
Yeah,
see one of the eels wrapped around the bill, you know what I mean? Or the tail would come around. It felt a bit more organic than some of the other ones. Those ones stuck out.
yeah, the ones that are slightly different. The
Yeah.
closer in things. I can't remember who took this shot now, but there was a tight shot, not with eels, but it was with a resting puffin. You know how they tuck their heads in,
Mm,
but it had water droplets all over it,
yeah.
and that was something slightly different. That sticks in my mind. So you can take pictures of them that really do, that are memorable and are different. But most of them, well, the vast majority, 99.9% of them, just stuff I've seen before,
Yeah.
again and again and again.
Yep.
I remember going there and trying to do so, and it is difficult, because it's a place where they've been photographed a lot. They're a bird that's photographed a lot. How do you come up with something different? It is very, very difficult. But I tried to do some different stuff when I was there, rather than just the same old, same old.
Yeah.
Um, I think one of my favourite shots actually was I had at Hermanus got the situation where I could get green grass uh, out of focus a long way behind the puffin. It was on a little ridge, and in front of me was a ridge of grass. So I've got this head just floating in this sea of out of focus green, basically.
That's cool.
That's probably my favorite shot that I got that whole that whole week. And I remember actually taking a bit of video, very shaky video, didn't have the stabilizer on, just to show people actually, and this is exactly what I saw, because it looks photoshopped, but it's not. This is exactly what I saw. I took
Mm,
it this way because it was just one of those situations where I could just lose the whole head in this just out of focus stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
that,
cool technique.
yeah, so that was my favorite shot, and I guess that's the sort of thing I look for, rather than, okay, if I'd have had the opportunity to take the sand eels in the beak, I would. Of
Yep.
course, I would. But it's probably not something I would put on social media, although it would
Yep.
do well. Shots
It
of
would.
puffins would
Oh,
do well
yeah.
on social
All
media.
these things we're talking about, come to think of it, do incredible on social media, right? I mean,
Yeah, they do.
that's part of what makes it cliche, because there's so many of them.
People almost get. I think people almost feel comfortable with it, don't they?
Yeah.
They've seen something before and they see it again and they like it. So that
And
it's just,
especially to the folks who aren't photographers, or just they don't even photograph birds, but they enjoy viewing the pictures. I think that audience especially likes these things.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, don't stop photographing puffins because they're beautiful.
They are.
Try and do something a bit different. Yeah. On to number 2 of one of
This
your favorites, Josh. Number 2 is hummingbirds coming into flowers, uh, allegedly feeding on natural nectar. Mhm. I'll go on. I'm going to let you have the take the
Oh,
floor with this one.
yeah, no, this one just I've seen so many, and they're just, multi-flash setup. You've got the canvas paper painted, or some sort of artificial background behind the bird. You have the banana flower, or whatever tropical flower. There's a little injection tube used to put the sugar water in, and I get it. And everybody sets up, and they take flashes of these birds, mostly at lodges or stations and whatnot. It's done a lot in Arizona here, actually, in the United States, but it's just been, everything's frozen on the bird, the wings. It always kind of, a lot of these shots have like an over flash look, artificial to me. And it's just been done. We were talking some of these things, Rob, they've been done for 5-6 years. This goes way back. This might be the oldest cliche that we're talking about.
1970s they were doing that, weren't they?
Yeah, this goes way back, and it's just been done over and over and over again. Frankly, the hummingbird shots that I like, I think if I had an opportunity to shoot this, I don't even think I would. I think I'd walk away. I'd say, you know what, I'm not going to do. Silhouette shots. I like when the wings are blurred at this point.
Yeah.
Natural ambient light. We saw some stuff in Wild Art a couple of years ago, backlit hummingbirds, where you had rim light of the flower and the bird. Some of that stuff, silhouette, I think looks a lot more unique, and to me, it's got a more organic feeling to it than the studio setup with the flower and the fake background and everything else. It's just way too manipulated for me.
Yeah, it's probably goes back to the 70s because using the flash, it was a way to freeze motion
Yeah, and you didn't
with
need autofocus. You'd
using
have
the
setup
limited
focus.
equipment they had, particularly with with the film and the ISO settings you had
Yeah,
with the film choice at the time. So that's where I reckon that all stems from.
that makes
But as
sense,
you
because
say,
you've seen a lot of film shots of it, and it's just manual focus. You don't need, everything set up. Yeah, I bet you're right, Rob. I bet it goes that far back.
yeah, but it's just never changed.
Mm-mm.
And you see it, and some of them, don't get me wrong, like all these things, you look at them and you go, that is beautiful, but it's I've seen that, I've seen it before.
Oh, let me
Why?
caveat with a telephoto lens, right? So I've seen some recent wide angle shots in, the jungles, or the tropics of South America. Really cool looks, but it's that telephoto compression,
Yeah,
artificial. It's just yeah,
yeah, it's
no
it's
bueno.
just been done and done and done, and I mean, I said I get it, and it really is the only way to, if you want to freeze the wings using flash, really is the only, and yet that sort of, the flash, the speed of the flash duration is the only way to do it. And
Yeah,
I'm sure that's why that came around in the first place, was to enable that to happen and to be able to capture images in that way. But it's one of those things, it just doesn't seem to have ever moved on.
mm-mm. And it's still a big thing. I was in Ecuador about 10 years ago, went to a number of lodges. I mean, there it's just hummingbirds galore down there. It's incredible. But that is a setup where the lodges actually have the setups there. So people just need to bring their camera, and they put the receiver for the flash, that's all set up, and they just do, boom, 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 and shoot. And Yeah, I mean, it makes probably a ton of money. I would think they make, millions of dollars a year on these types of shots, and the ecotourism is great, but it's just maybe
Yeah,
even something more creative, like side light or angular light, shadows, backlight, just the rim. There's a few things I think they can do to mix it up and come up with something a little bit more creative. But a lot of times, as I was saying, everything's set up for them. It's like it's just here you go.
yeah, it's almost plug and go, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Really. Yeah, but it's like a lot of these things. You're talking about a lot of the reflection pools and those multi-flash setups. We're talking about those hides like Ben says hides,
yeah.
where you're photographing water birds at night, and you might be photographing a heron catching or picking up I'm sure a baited situation again, picking up a fish, and it's shaking off, and you've got all those sort of those water droplets spraying out on a slower shutter speed, and then some of it's frozen with some flash, and but that is basically put somebody in the seat, hand them the adapter to put on their camera to fire everything, to fire all the flashes, and off you go.
Yeah.
This is what you do.
Yeah.
And again, I get it, and taking some of those sorts of images is going to be a lot of fun, and I do understand it. But something like the hummingbirds, I just don't think that's ever really gone anywhere.
Mm-mm.
It's just for 50 years, it's just been the same.
Yep.
So how you create something a little different, I don't know. But again, maybe multiple exposures, maybe some wider angle type stuff. We were joking about the probe lens, weren't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
With Georgina.
Yeah.
Perhaps out of the get that sort of approach to it. Just try and do something just a little different. But yeah. So anyway, yeah, hummingbirds, I think probably is the thing that's been photographed for the longest time in the same way.
Definitely.
Yeah, in the same way. Oh dear. Which brings us on to number one.
Bum bum ba bum ba bum.
Yeah, drum roll. So number one, for me, I just think it's got to be diving kingfishers. And again, I get it. They are the most beautiful bird. We're talking about the common kingfisher here. It is the most beautiful bird. Well, I guess we could be talking about other species as well, couldn't we? Because they're all done in a similar sort of way. But for me, it's the European, common kingfisher that I see all the time. It's a beautiful bird. And what better way than to get something that colourful diving in and catching a fish? I mean, I get it. But man, have I seen so many pictures of those now. And there are competitions where the whole submission from somebody will be diving kingfishers. I've seen that. And you just, in the end, you just get snowblind to it, because how can you choose? I remember that do you remember that one? Was it Alan McFadden? I think it must have been a few years ago, where he'd got it where the kingfisher was diving. It was a straight sort of shot of the back of the kingfisher as it was coming in.
Did it have the trail? Was it like
No, that was another really innovative shot, actually.
Okay, I remember that shot.
That combination
The
of
rear curtain shutter where
ambient
they
light
have the
and that rear curtain flash right at the end. No, this was one where the tip of the beak was just touching the water as it was diving in. Do you remember that?
Maybe I've seen that shot or something similar, so I probably have seen
But that was a few years ago. That was kind of the first time we'd seen the timing of it, because don't forget, probably at the time he took that 10 frames a second was about as good as you could get.
Yeah.
So that was, it's a lot easier to do that now. And I think I remember him saying something like he took 10,000 images or something before he got that shot.
Yes, I've seen stories around that. He got some press out of that, actually.
He
the
did.
photographer.
I know. Rightly so.
Yeah,
rightly so. But then I think that shot I've now seen. Apart from the sort of standard diving kingfisher, I've seen that shot replicated quite a few times. What I did see, and what I thought was really good, as you mentioned a little earlier, was that was the trail
Yeah.
and the
That,
diving kingfisher with so it was a combination of ambient light to create the motion blur in the trail with a rear curtain flash right at the end to freeze the bird before it went in. And I thought that was really, really clever.
the thing about it is like, well, it's done a little bit over here. We have a belted kingfisher, not as pretty as the common kingfisher. I've seen some shots like that, but I think in order to get that shot, I could be wrong. You need to have everything planned out and needs to be there. And what I've seen people do over here, I don't know if it's done in England, but or the UK, they have like a little fish tank they set up, and they have
Yeah,
minnows in the fish tank, and everything is set up, and so the photographer knows where the kingfisher is going to hit, pre-focused, just hit
yeah,
the trigger, and they're looking at it with their naked eye, and then they'll use a shutter, I think that's how those shots are taken. I could be
yeah.
wrong.
That's in the main. That's right, and that calls into question all sorts of ethical issues,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah.
It always does. I mean, this is what we went going back to what we were saying earlier. If you're trying to control a situation, you are going to be introducing something which has an ethical consequence,
Hmm.
that you need to think about. And so there are issues with fish tanks. Not only the fish, the actual bait itself, you're introducing a source of food which ultimately you're probably going to take away, and you're also introducing the possibility for, depending on how the thing is used, for the kingfisher to injure itself
Yeah,
as well. And
because it's
that's
shallow, right? I mean, you would
yeah,
think it's a shallow, and it's diving in pretty hard, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I have seen it done where people might put something white, like a maybe a piece of card or plastic or something on the bottom of the stream or whatever, below a perch. So the idea is that the kingfisher can easily see the shape of the fish as they swim over
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
so that they'll use that more often because they can target the fish more easily. So I've seen that approach
Hmm.
used as well. So that I kind of that's better than a tank.
Yeah.
Um, but no, the tank I have a bit of a problem with, I have to
Yeah, I'm
say.
with you. I'm with you. I mean, yeah. I mean, how bad do you want that shot at this point, especially since the shot's been done a million times?
Well,
Well,
you
maybe
see,
that's how it first was gotten, I guess, but I get that. But
yeah, you see, there's the thing, isn't it? I mean, the more we see these images, the more we want to take them for ourselves. I guess it's
yeah,
just a natural thing, isn't it?
yeah,
But you really do have to control a situation to get a bird that small diving that quickly, doing that very thing. You're not going to wander out, to the local river and going to go and do that in, you know, 10 minutes just by chance. The whole thing
mhm,
needs to be set up, particularly if you're using those flash those flash setups where you're trying to get those different effects.
yeah,
It just has to be so controlled.
yep, definitely. And,
So
and and of all these cliches we're talking about, I think this one we've seen the most, right? Not only is it number one, I think from a quantity standpoint, geez, it's hard to beat this one.
yeah, I think it's up there with a puffin, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the hummingbirds, I think too, just as
yeah.
much. Recent,
Which is why I think we've put them up there at the top because they are the things that we've seen the most.
yeah,
Um, and like all these things, understand why that's the case and why people want. Would I want to take diving kingfishers? Of course, I would. Opportunity like that, if there were no, if I was happy with the ethics behind it, of course I would, and I understand it. But it's been seen and been done. I'll probably keep it in my collection rather than keep sharing it around. But yeah, it's been done. So yeah,
definitely.
those are our top 10. I guess the things that we see most often, and the things that we just like to see different twists on. And every time we do see something a little different, it catches our eye, and you go, oh, no, I like that take on it.
Yep,
And
definitely.
I mean, those images really do stand out, don't they? When you've seen something that you've seen a million times, but it's done in a different way, I think that can be very, very eye catching. Yeah.
Hmm.
So there we are. So there you go. Our top 10 bird photography in the main cliches. So, well, that was a lot of fun actually.
That was.
And as I said, it's not, it's only meant to be a bit of fun. We're not taking this too seriously.
All done with love.
Yeah, all done with love and respect for people who take these images, and so have we. In the main, taken exactly the same thing. So, yeah, please take it in the spirit in which it's been delivered. But anyway, Josh, what's next for you?
Things have calmed down. The last couple of weeks have been very busy with, migration. So I've been shooting songbirds. I was up in Pennsylvania for about a week or so. Now things are kind of quieting down. Everything's nesting. Young are being fed right now here. So I've been going out here and there, photographing, green herons, waders, osprey, stuff like that.
Catching
and I'll probably
fish.
continue to do that. Maybe look for shorebird. Yeah, more cliche stuff, but probably tend to kind of stay on this, these water birds for the next 2 months until the shorebirds start coming back in July, and I'll start looking for them on some beaches. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I said for me, I guess off to France. So we're going to see what that holds. But hopefully, I should see a lot of decent stuff, even if I don't photograph it. But there should,
definitely.
yeah, So I mean, we're not spending a lot of time on the coast. We've got a place which is probably an hour and a half away from the south coast, and the Camargue. But so we'll see what's local. But all sorts of interesting stuff, and we're taking a few days to drive down, through France quite leisurely. So there'll be some stuff along the way. We've got a couple of nights in the foothills of the Alps, I think, on the way down. So yeah, let's see what's around.
Cool.
There'll be as well as birds. There'll be plenty of plants and things like, and insects and things like that to photograph, I'm sure. So,
yeah, you'll enjoy it. It'll be great.
Yeah, just be nice to have a few days off and just unwind.
Yeah.
And get back into it. So yeah, very interesting to see what that brings. And when I get back, what have we got? I guess end of the orchid season coming up. So try and do a few of those. Shorebirds mainly, I guess. Try and get in and do a few more of those sorts of things. Get out on Salisbury Plain a bit more, because it's not far from where I live. And a friend of mine, has been telling me a few rarities that have been turning up. So
wasn't Peter Gabriel, was it? No,
no, it wasn't.
That's on the hill, not the plain. Sorry.
Yeah, it might be under an alias, perhaps. But it doesn't look like him. Didn't know he was interested in photography anyway. Yeah, so I guess it's basically that for me. But anyway, yeah, good to chat. Enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and
likewise, it was great.
Yeah, I hope everybody. I hope you all enjoyed our little chat. And we've got a few, as I said, got a few things coming up. So we've got a few more episodes to record when I get back from France. So it won't be too long before the next one's out. So look out for that. But thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you all again next time.
Thanks all.
You have been listening to the Wildlife Photography Podcast. If you have enjoyed the content, then please help us to spread the word by sharing a link on your social media platforms, giving us a like, and leaving us a comment. See you all again next time.